Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dawson County Board of Commissioners work session. Today's Thursday, April 21st, 2022. We welcome those that are with us in attendance and those that are with us online as well. We get right into the new business. First up, we have presentation of request for collaborative agreement between Emergency Services and the Faithful Guardian Training Center. Emergency Service Director Danny Thompson. Danny.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you. Before you is the contract, but I'll read a little bit of some of the background information here. Obviously, the fire department has identified a critical need to recruit and maintain our paramedic workforce. Currently, there is only one paramedic program within a 25-mile radius of Dawson County. We were informed last week that that program is currently without an instructor and is actually dead in the water as we speak today. Lanier Tech.
Oh, no.
Job change, we'll say. How about that?
Well, are they gonna try to hire somebody, Danny, or are they just gonna let it go away?
I can't answer that question. I'll let
Yeah.
Lanier Tech answer that.
They'll
question.
probably hire somebody.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm sure
okay.
they'll get somebody in there, but they have some issues they're working
All
through.
right, starting off this meeting with a heart attack.
Oh, yeah. So there's a need, obviously, for us to provide a geographically closer program for our personnel and to provide greater educational opportunities. We're seeking this collaborative agreement with Faithful Guardian, as we've determined that one of the best things is to grow our own people from within, and that's to take our existing firefighter EMTs, be able to offer them the training of going to the next level and becoming a paramedic. We seek to enter into the collaborative agreement with Faithful Guardian for a 3-year period. Dawson County, we will be providing a classroom space to conduct the on-site paramedic program. This partnership will again enable us here at Dawson County to have our own in-house paramedic program. It's something that we haven't been able to have in years past. This is a valuable tool for both recruiting future employees and thus ensuring a consistent pipeline of paramedics to be able to serve the community as we move forward. Faithful Guardian will be responsible for much of the medical equipment, and just some of the highlights of the contract before you that I did want to point out. We're staying in compliance with county ordinance and section 2, scope and duration. With it being a contract, essentially, it will expire on the 31st like all other county contracts. One of the things that we discussed with the agreement and also with our county attorneys was that if we had a class that was midway through, even though we chose to exercise, let's say, our termination agreement, we would then enable that class to still finish. We would take all measures necessary to still try to let that class finish if they had 3 months to be able to allow them to continue. So that's there in scope and duration in 3, or in 2, I should say. And 3, and this is one that's kind of a big selling point too, is with that collaborative agreement, we've identified 3 different parties from both Faithful Guardian side and the Dawson County side to be part of that leadership. Leadership's going to meet every month to talk about, and we realize that with the first program, there's going to be some hiccups. There'll be some challenges getting this program, and to work through those and to identify anything that we can improve on so we produce a better program for the students that are out there. Moving over to 4, legal and financial, and this is probably one that you guys love the most because it's tied to finances. In that, Faithful Guardian employees will remain Faithful Guardian employees, and they'll be responsible for paying their employees. Dawson County will be responsible for providing the lead instructor. We have somebody who was the former lead instructor at Lanier Tech, and she works for us. She will be the lead instructor, and because of funding provided by this board in our training budget, we'll be able to enable her to be able to teach this program. So another plus for all of us. Another part of that in there in that second paragraph talks about some of the responsibility and liability of negligent actions. Obviously, we will not be held at fault for anything that Faithful Guardian employees were to do, and vice versa in that same aspect. And then probably one of the other ones that I love is that as part of this partnership and everything, Faithful Guardian is going to provide us 3 free positions every class that we do. So there'll be a cost savings to the county of approximately $15,000 to $18,000 out there. Now, I will tell you, we've already reached out to our employees. We have 6 people who are ready to go to this class today. And I can't tell you when I've had 6 paramedic applications, except for the last time that the board did a significant raise for us, and we're much appreciative of that. So here's again another opportunity for us now to, with the paramedic tuition reimbursement that you have out there for us, and the 3 free spots, to really grow employees from within and provide them with that educational opportunity. Just in kind of the section 5. You'll see there what Faithful Guardian is responsible for. They're handling a lot of the state office of EMS paperwork, accreditation side of it, and they are an accredited agency, so they have some accreditation compliance stuff. They handle all that paperwork. They also handle setting up all of the clinical sites, maintaining those contracts, so we don't have to. And just kind of put that in perspective, a paramedic student, when he or she's going through that program, they're going to have to do EMS clinical rides, emergency room clinical rides, operating room clinical rides, labor and delivery clinicals. And so by them taking that off of our plate and us not having to worry about it, and me come to you with 7 different memorandums of understanding with different hospitals and EMS, they're going to handle all of that. Part of this agreement, they take care of all of that. Their personnel are responsible for setting up those clinical agreements. So when you have a class of 25 different students, you may have 2 students at L&D, 2 at OR, 2 on the ambulance that day. So you got a good bit of manpower that's required to do that, and they'll handle that for us. And really, as you go down there and you look in there, you'll see what we're providing. We're providing a classroom at Fire Station 7. We're going through the process of really updating some of the equipment down there right now, and getting some nicer chairs, nicer tables in there, making it a conducive. But the main thing is we're providing the lead instructor. So it's our person who will be teaching this class, shaping this class. We've designed this class around her wants, her request, to make this the best program we can for everybody. And then last but not least is obviously in section 9, the termination section. Both parties have the ability to notify either within 60 days written notice. We can back out of it. Again, I would say that if we chose this year, let's say that we start the class here the first week of May, and this gets approved for us to move forward, and we see that this thing's a train wreck for whatever reason, and we send them the notification, hey, we don't want to renew this, we're out. We will allow this class to be able to finish as an agreement, but at that point, they will have to find a second. So what we're basically considered with Faithful Guardian is a satellite. The contract you have before you has been thoroughly vetted by Gerard and Davis. I've exchanged a lot of emails with Gerard and Davis on this, and I think we've come to an agreement. They've met all of the verification forms and everything. So I am asking that we try to move this forward tonight, because we have a lot of people in the area that want to attend this program. I will answer any questions that I may be able to.
Questions for Chief Thompson?
I've got to ask you a question.
COVID numbers are down still.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Once approved, when will you start classes? When will you start the classes?
If you give us the blessing, chiefly first week, second week of May.
Okay.
And I think right now we're at 26 people that would like to get in this program. And we do have a max number, that's 30. Minimum of 15, max of 30.
What's the length of the class now? I know it changes all the time.
We
15
moved it to a
months?
15-month program.
Ooh.
Is it shift friendly for our personnel?
It's not. We had to really just kind of set a date based on our instructor, and they will meet once every 3 days, but it's on, was it B shift they're meeting? Yeah, so
So
it'll be
some
our B shift.
overtime.
So
What is that? They're on duty. What?
Nope. So we've moved everybody around.
Okay.
So they'll be, so we don't get into the overtime, them being on duty and it affecting staffing. And the 6 that we've identified, they've actually signed into the paramedic contract that we've strengthened and changed also as well.
Other questions?
What about, so you said we get 3 free classes each?
Basically 3 spots per class.
Okay,
So every time once we finish this class and we start another class, let's just say June of next year, we'll have 3 additional spots that will have the ability to send if people want to go.
but that's still, when I was looking where the students are responsible for textbooks and stuff like that. Does that cover any
That's
of
covered
that?
in that 3.
In the
If you
3.
notice, yes, sir. If you
Okay.
notice in that language, we had them changed it to include all fees.
Okay,
The majority of these that are students that are attending, are they sponsored might not be the right word, but are they sent by another department? The
Yes, sir.
majority of them. So
Yes, sir.
none of them's coming off the street saying, I want to get into that as a life career or anything.
I haven't seen the roster, but most of them are, there's a fair amount from Hall County.
Mhm.
There's some from Forsyth. Where are some of the other? Yeah.
But most of those are similar to our
departments.
training program where if they send you, then you're kind of tied into a contract with that community for. a certain
Similar to
period of
us.
time. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But it still gives, I mean, we can't cherry pick the best ones off and say, hey, come work over here, but it gives, it gives
We can't?
exposure.
Who said?
That's not in the
Okay.
contract. I didn't see that in the contract. I
But at
mean,
least
we're-
it gives,
We're always trying to advertise.
it gives exposure of our community and the way that we operate to all those guys. And so they can go back and
When they
compare.
come over here to us and they sit in our classroom, it's an opportunity for us to showcase our department.
Yeah.
So it happens.
We're hiring.
In the past, we visited Lanier Tech.
That's
and tried
correct.
to recruit.
That's correct.
Also,
Good.
Other questions for Chief Thompson? No good with moving it forward? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next up, we have presentation emergency rental repair of generator for Government Center and Law Enforcement Center Facilities Director James Todd. James.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here today to discuss a repair of the 350 kW Cummings generator that operates the Government Center here. It went out in early January. We've had about a 2-year problem with this generator. Had Cummins South come out about 4 different times. Finally, it was determined that the piston sleeves were scarred and the engine either had to be rebuilt, replaced, or a new generator. Done a lot of research on it. New generator was $160,000 and a year wait. A new motor put into the existing generator was $60,000 in 6 months. And we got a quote from Cummins South to rebuild the motor that we had in it for $40,900. We went with that option because that is a immediate fix. In the meantime, we did have to rent a generator from Yancey Brothers due to the fact that it does control the server for the Government Center. So we hooked that up, and I'm here today to request that we take $47,372.67 out of contingency to pay for it. All the repairs have been done. The bills have been in for approximately a month now. It was an emergency situation. We had to have it done. It actually went out on a Thursday, and then by Saturday afternoon, we had a new generator hooked up. Done some good work with Yancey's Brothers. Their portion was $9,901, and the rebuild was $37,470, which is approximately $4,000 less than originally quoted. Unfortunately, the warranty on the new motor would only last for 1 year. I'm trying to be in negotiations with Cummins South to get an extended warranty on the generator. So that's where we stand, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Questions for James?
How many hours were on that generator when it went out?
I think it was a little over 500. It only runs for like 30 minutes once a week unless the power is out. And one of the other things about the generator, it is a 350 kW, so it's quite a large generator. For some reason, they did not wire the entire government center to the generator, so it doesn't get a full load bank on it. And that was part of the problems we had. It actually malfunctioned a couple of the injectors, and parts of one of the injectors fell down into the piston walls and scarred them, which was the reason for the excessive, and I mean excessive smoking when the generator went off. So that's all taken care of now, and moving forward, I'm thinking about in the future, trying to get a price on wiring the entire building. Until then, I'll have to pay $1,800 every 6 months to get a load bank on the generator. They're saying that the more power you put to the generator, the better it'll run and the longer it'll last. So if you run it at half capacity, it tends to age and wear the generator.
Creates a memory.
Yeah,
It does what to the?
it ages it. It doesn't, if it doesn't, like, it's like your car. If you've got a Trans Am, you don't run it and gas it every now and then, just run it at half speed. It just seems to, the seals don't set, and it doesn't seem quite as good when you get ready to go.
And how that generator was put in when the building was built.
It's 11 years old.
11 years.
And it's also obsolete generator now. For some reason, they don't make that particular generator anymore.
Other questions?
Also, one other, I was hoping y'all might be able to vote on that this evening, because the bills have been on my desk for a little while. So if y'all could do that, we'd appreciate it.
Still moving it?
Mhm.
You ain't got that in your budget?
The simple answer is no.
No, definitely not.
So
Don't
have you
plan,
talked to Vicky about where the money's coming from?
continuously, I've talked to Mr. Hadley, Vicky.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I've talked
Is
to
that part
everybody
of
in the
the 100?
courthouse twice, honestly.
Fund balance.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Next up, we have presentation of first quarter 2022 financial report, Chief Financial Officer Vicky Knight. Vicky. Now you'll know we have money.
No what?
You'll know we have some money.
Oh, okay. Oh, let me find that.
Thank you, Chairman
front
and
of me.
Commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to come before you today. First, we'll talk about general fund, and that's usually what we focus on whenever we give reports, because that's the main operating fund of the county. And this report will be as of March 31st of this year. The original FY 22 budget was $32,486,680. As of the end of March, the budget stood at $34,900,591. Revenues totaled 6.6 million, or 19.19% of budget, and expenditure is at a little over 7 million. Our break-even point does not typically occur until third quarter. Always like to look back and see what happened the prior year, and the budget for this year is higher than last year's. But if you look at the percentage of budget, we're pretty close. We're at 19.19% of revenues. Last year, we were at 19.20. Expenditures were at 20.33%, and last year we were at 20.91. So we're running pretty close to where we were last year as far as budget percentage. This slide breaks down the different revenue sources that are accounted for in the general fund. You have taxes, local option sales tax, licenses and permits, charges for services, intergovernmental revenues, fines and forfeitures, investment income, donations, miscellaneous, and other financing sources. As I said earlier, we're at 6.6 million. We're at 19.19% of budget. And the column on the far right shows the amount of budget, like how much taxes makes the percentage of general fund. So all the taxes make up 50.54%. Local option sales tax makes up 26%, and on and on. Talk a little bit more about local option sales tax. All of the local option sales tax goes into general fund to help offset the cost of running the general fund. It helps keep your property tax low. The sales tax comes to us a month in arrears. And so as of the end of March, we had only received 2 months worth. So that's why it's not showing January, February, and March, because the money we receive in March actually gets accrued back to the prior year. So if you look between 22 and 21, you see that we have a year-to-date increase of $236,000 or 17%. So we're 17% higher for local option sales tax for 22 than we were for 21. Okay, this slide breaks down the general government expenditures. Each of the departments fit into what's called a function. And so you have different functions. And so then after you have the functions, then it breaks down into departments. So these are the departments that make up the general government departments. And the first column shows their fiscal year 22 current budget, fiscal year 22 actual year to date, and then the percentage of budget. 25% is your kind of benchmark for the first quarter because that's a quarter of your year. So none of these departments, I don't see that there's any issues with any of them. There might be some that's a little bit higher, like those rascals that are in finance, you know, they're at 26%. But the reason for that is because like our software fee, we pay that the whole thing in January. So that kind of skews the budget a little bit. And most of these are for that reason. They may have one large expenditure that they had to pay in the first quarter. So general government is, total budget is 6.7 million, year-to-date actuals at 1.5 or at 22.73%. Next, we'll look at the judicial expenditures. Total budget for all the courts is at 3,897,226. Year-to-date is at 754,802 or 19.37%. The sheriff expenditures, sheriff has multiple departments, and these are the departments that are accounted for in general fund. He also has other funds, and like the 911, that's in a separate fund, so that wouldn't be part of this report, but he also has 911. The sheriff's general fund departments total 8.9 million. Year-to-date actual is a little over 2 million, or he's at 22.62% of budget.
Just a quick question. School traffic seems like it's running way below. Is that just a function of timing?
Yeah, I think so. And you know, like there's different periods of the year. I think they have more, like they probably have more, like during the summer, they won't have much at all, but like in the fall and probably later in the spring, there'll be more because there's more activities, I think. Okay, next we'll look at the other public safety departments. Those departments total $6,056,420, and the year-to-date is at 1.4 million or 23.37%. Public Works, total Public Works is at 1,941,000. Total year-to-date is 338,000 or 17.45%. I'd like to point out that we used to account for the Keep Dawson Beautiful in the solid waste fund, but this year in the budget, we moved that over to general fund. So they're treated like all the other agencies that we help support. So they are categorized as Public Works. Health and Welfare. Total budgets for all the health and welfare departments is 451,000. At the end of March, the expenditures totaled $91,839, or they're at 20.36%. Recreation and Culture, that's all the parks and the library. Total budget for all those departments is 1.7 million. At the end of the quarter, they were at 402,000 in expenses, or 22.61%. Housing and Development, total budget for these departments are 1,200,000, and through March, their total expenditures were 272,000, or 22.16%. Okay, other financing uses. We help support other funds through the general fund. Family Connection, our grants, transfer out to capital, the fleet, 911, and the GIS. So all of these transfers are budgeted to total 3.8 million for fiscal year 22. Year to date, we have expended 257,000 or 6.72%. And this is just a total of all those different functions that I just showed you, and just put them in one total, and they're at 7,093,000. Also like to point out that this slide shows that almost 64 cents of every dollar spent year to date out of general fund has been for the employees, for salaries and benefits. The next largest category is contracts and services. We had just a few significant additions to general fund so far this year. $81,430 for fire hydrants. We had a $2,075,000 carryover for the security system that's in process right now for the courthouse. And a $61,000 carryover for the ACCG risk management funds. Fiscal year 21, we are in the process of trying to get that year closed out. They finished up the audit field work last week, and they're working on the results, and they'll present that to the board at a future date. Most of the year-end budget adjustments were completed using funds that you all had already appropriated. So we didn't have to come back and ask the board for additional funds for 21. It's anticipated that the general fund will see an increase in fund balance as of 12/31/21. These are the year-end budget adjustments that we had to do. And these budget moves were approved by the county manager. Like with the sheriff, he has multiple departments. So we were able to move money in between his departments in order to make all his budgets balanced. Because by law, every department has to be in the black, basically. They can't be showing a negative. So, so we had to kind of move money around in order to make that happen. But for juvenile court, they needed $26,649. And we moved that amount from the contingency for legal fees, professional services attorney, and other contingencies. Superior Court needed a total of $17,131, and that was moved from the professional services attorney account. And the coroner needed $3,220, and that was moved from the salary contingency. So it was good that, we didn't have to come back and ask you all to increase the budget. We were just able to move it around, but I thought y'all might want to be aware of what we had to do. Okay, these are some other funds that we account for. 911, year to date, they're at 166 in revenues and 302,000 in expenditures. Family Connection, their budget is 232,000. They're at 28,000 in revenues and 26,000 for expenditures. Grants Fund total budget is 2.3 million. We're at 483,000 in revenues and 519,000 in expenditures. Hotel Motel, $450,000 budget. We're at 115,000 for revenues and 42,000 for expenditures. Capital projects, we're at 2.6 million. Year-to-date revenues are at 33,585 and expenditures are at 201,000. Solid Waste Fund, 626,000 is the budget. Revenues are at 40,000 and expenditures are at 88,000. Impact fee budget is 2.4 million. Revenues are at 609,000 and expenditures are a little over 4,000.
When we did the hotel motel budget revenue, did we anticipate the new units that were coming online, like the Holland? I don't know what the name of the new one is, but this should trend greater if we didn't anticipate, if we
Yeah.
took a snapshot and it wasn't live, if that particular unit wasn't open at that point, then a hotel that comes online should increase that number.
It should, yes, it should. We should see it as more rooms are available to be
Trending
rented.
ahead of the
We
budget.
should see that, yes. Here's the same kind of slide that I did for local option sales tax for the SPLOST. Year-to-date total, we're at 1.8 million. Last year, we were at 1.5 million at the same point in time, or an increase of 268,000 or 17.45%.
2 months.
That's
just
2 months.
That's 2
Yeah,
months.
because we haven't received
Right.
the
Mhm.
March money yet. We'll get that probably the 28th of this month. SPOS 6, year-to-date expenditures. Sheriff, we've spent 223,000 for vehicles and equipment. Fire, we spent 374,000. That's where we paid off the fire truck debt and some small equipment. Roads, we've spent $91,300, but there's right now another $630,000 encumbered. It's just the money's obligated, just the projects just haven't been started. Parks, we've spent 878,000 on park improvements, and we've spent a little over 15,000 for IT equipment, for a total of 1.5 million. And now we get to start talking about SPOS 7. SPOS 7 collection started July 1st of last year, and total collections through March of this year are 8.1 million. We haven't spent a whole lot of money out of that yet because we can't do that because of the way the SPOS resolution and IGA was written. So we've only spent $18,673, and that expense went towards the communications project for 911.
Once we hit
We will hit.
8.5, then the next step is to
They
release the
get
1.5.
1.5. They get
City.
1.5. They get the next 1.5.
Yeah.
Yes. So they should get the first payment, I would think, this month.
Hmm.
Or they won't get the full amount, but they'll
Right,
get,
right.
whatever equals, anything over the 8.5, that's what they'll get.
Yeah, so by June, that'll be
Should be.
fully paid up.
Okay, impact fees. Impact fees were reinstated in 2018, and since that time, we've collected $5.4 million. Impact fees can only be used for capital improvement related to growth in the county, not for salaries and other regular maintenance, repairs, and operations. Departments that are designated to use the impact fees are library, parks, emergency services, and roads. Uses of impact fees since 2018, we spent $122,000 towards a fire truck. 2 ambulances, $746,000 is obligated. Park expansion, $1,020,000, and the library, we spent a little over $41,000, and that's been for materials, books, and videos, and those kinds of things. Notable purchases and projects in the first quarter. We have several vehicles on order for the sheriff and the other departments. The LMIG projects are in process by Public Works. Planning and discussions regarding the new Emergency Operations Center and Communications upgrade have been held. Completed construction of the Harry Sosby Roundabout. IT is working and has been working on the conference room upgrade. Cybersecurity, the phone system upgrade has been completed, and a new help desk system has been rolled out. We've also been working on turf fields at Rock Creek and the Rock Creek Walking Trail and the canoe put-in ramp. In conclusion, the first quarter of 22 has been a financially successful quarter, and it's anticipated that the year will continue in a positive direction. Thank you to all the elected officials, department directors, and staff who work to make Dawson County a fiscally sound county government. And I'd also like to thank my staff for the great job they do. I have to brag on them a little bit because the auditors were here last week and they kept telling me how prepared they were, They were just real impressed. And so I just want to publicly thank them for the good job they do. So do you have any questions for me?
Questions for Ms. Vicky?
Remaining debt load that we have is just the single bond that we have, correct? That right at 2 million?
Yes, for the Etowah
Yeah,
water.
and that, okay.
That's the only
And we're
thing.
doing P and I on that now at the tune of about
Yes.
$350,000.
Mhm.
When's that maturity? You know, off the top of your head? I mean, it's a pretty good ways downstream.
Yeah, we've got a few years to go on that.
Okay.
27, I want to say, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
But thank you for this. I love this.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate
do it.
this. People just seem to be so conscious of their budgets. And I just love that.
They do a great job. They
Yes,
really do.
everybody does. I appreciate that so
Yeah,
much.
I do too. Makes my job easier.
Yeah. Makes everybody's
It
life
does,
easier.
it
doesn't
does, you know, and we're fortunate to be in a, you know, a good place. You know, we have great sales tax and,
Yes.
you know, it really helps.
Mhm.
And Billy and I will be in Savannah next week at a training, and every time I go down there, people are so envious of
The
our
sales
financial
tax.
positions and how we manage our finances and the
They are.
resources that we have opportunities to be able to use. So
Okay,
thank you.
well, thank you.
Yeah, Vicky, I just wanted to say thanks to you and your staff too, but just like you said, the other department heads and elected officials, I mean, for example, like Talbot came up here and was looking at options, how to save us money on that generator. And I just appreciate all the staff for doing that, but y'all do a great job.
Thank you, Vicky, and your staff.
Mhm.
Dave, tell all the staff we appreciate the hard work they do.
Yes.
All right. That's a very positive note. So let's move on to the next one. Presentation of community room at fire station number 8, Commissioner Satterfield.
Yeah, well, I don't have a presentation, so I don't have a PowerPoint. But I talked to the chairman about this and I wanted to put this on the agenda and talk about it. And talk about a commissioner that's I've learned a lot from over the years as far as the history and people in the county, but I'll go ahead and put it out. She has a lot of passion for not only her district, but other areas of the county too. And you see, she probably takes more notes than any of us up here and asks more questions, don't she, Chief? But you know,
That's 'cause she's the dumbest.
she was really wanting that fire station built like the rest of us also. I mean, we think that every citizen in this county deserves the same service, no matter if you live west of town or on 400, you deserve the same service as the rest of them get, and you deserve the same tax break. And that's one big thing we were trying to get that district out there, to get that fire station built and have that ISO rating dropped where they could have the same benefit as, like I said, the people on the east side of town. But I saw how excited she got. I went to the grand opening too. But I just want to bring for this board, and I wanted to name if we can, the community room is Station 8 for Miss Sharon Fawcett Community Room. And she's gonna kill me because
I
I'm
know.
nominated
I just want to.
for co-chair one time, and but I heard no one about it. But I think she's done a lot for this community, and she's been on different boards and committees throughout her career, and 8 years here is I bless you for that, because 4 has been enough for me. But and thanks for the leadership. These decisions this board makes, they're not made lightly.
No.
I've talked to her on decisions, and it pains her sometimes to make decisions. It pains all of us. We don't make these decisions just because we want to try to for somebody else to benefit or anything like that. We make these decisions because we get counsel, we get our legal advice, and a lot of times we do the right thing for the right reason. But and I know she does the right thing for the right reason a lot of times. So that's one reason I wanted to bring it up and see if we can name this room after Miss Sharon Fawcett.
I appreciate that, Tim. See, we were on positive, now we've gone plumb negative. We're going from one to the other, but you know, it makes me very uncomfortable, but I appreciate the thought so much. And I know there are people out there that love the county as much as I do. They can't love it more than I do. And I just appreciate your thinking of this, and you can vote to do it or you can vote not to do it. I feel the same about y'all as I feel right now. So it's your decision. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
You're welcome. And I'll echo what he said. I mean, you know, Sharon and I have soundboarded each other a lot in my 6 years that I've served on this board, and she's very passionate in how she looks at her job and how she makes her decisions, which is, you know, and she'll tell you and I'll tell you, we've not always agreed.
Nope.
And that's fine. But we're still able to communicate.
The scars don't show.
They don't show.
No.
And so, and I've been with her at a lot of places where she was abused by some of the people that showed up, as well as myself, but she's tough and water just runs off her back, kind of like water off a duck's back, kind of like mine. So, we may not have liked what they said, but we just moved on, and she moves on and goes to the next project, because once it's done, it's done.
Mhm.
And that's how you have to look at it, and that's how you have to work. I told Tim when he called me, I said, I don't know what she'll say, but you can bring it up. I said,
It's your vote.
I
It's
said,
your vote.
but she's done a fabulous job. And then, like I say, she's been very passionate about the west side of the county. And us getting that fire station over there was a blessing for those people over there, because Sharon and I talked about this a lot when that was coming up, that, those people were patient. I'll say those people were very patient. They didn't call every day and
No.
complain, and they paid that higher ISO rating for year after year after year after year. And so they were excited. That's the reason you saw such a big crowd
That's
when
right.
we had the open house. And so a great thing for that community.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I can echo all that and repeat that. And it's been an honor to be, I mean, you still got several months left to go.
Yeah, you're
I'm
getting out.
still
You're
gonna be
not-
here.
You're not leaving now.
No.
My only request is that we do it in honor of, not in memory of.
Do you know something I don't know?
Uh,
Yeah, I'd rather it be that way too. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Tim.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next up, we have presentation request for assistance from the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission concerning a grant application. As you all know, we put aside $2.5 million for health department. And David and I and the staff have been looking at grant opportunities to increase that dollar amount. And we had a meeting with GMRC, and David, I don't remember the young man's name, you may. But the community development block grant, which we got with the senior center, and we got $750,000 at that
Yes.
particular time.
Yes.
Well, now they moved that up to $1 million. So there's an opportunity for us to put in for an additional $1 million to, get all the things that we need necessarily for the health department. We're also still working with our state legislature. Will Wade, our representative, is working through their budget process, trying to get us some extra money as well for that. And then the health department itself is filling out some kind of an application through the state to try to get some funds as well. So anyway, with all that being said, you'll see there's a request letter in the packet that we would need to approve so that David could send that back to GMRC. And they were so valuable in helping us with the other grant. And I think this is going to cost us about $1,000 from what they said, which is basically nothing, to help us get through all the I's and T's and stuff. And Vicky was at that meeting, so she can tell you how complicated it is. And any kind of help we can get is awesome. And so I'm asking y'all to approve for us to send this letter back and asking them for assistance in applying for the CDBG grant or another ARPA grant, whatever they can get us, because they're going to look and see what else is out there as well. So with
Think
that,
There'll be some more.
it's a
some more?
possibility.
Yeah.
They're going to look at all the options, they said, or would look at all the options if we wanted them to.
Time is of the essence. We want to go ahead and move that forward
So,
tonight.
yeah, I think we should. If we can move that forward and y'all are good with that, I'd like to move
I'm
that
good
forward.
with it. Yes.
Okay, all right. Now, let's see. Presentation of board appointments. Long Range Planning Committee, Emily Bagwell replacing Joe Brewer. You have her resume there, and she's very qualified. And then on the Planning Commission, Russ Chambers, an appointment. He'll be the alternate for District 2. And that term is May 2022 through December 2022. And so I'll make those two recommendations to you for those board appointments. And I'll try to answer any questions that you might have on those two. Or Chris can answer the District 2 one probably.
I've had a vacancy in that position for a while, and so Russ has always been a big community advocate, and so I think he'd be a good fit as alternate.
Okay, so we'll move on to the county manager report. David.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Key indicator report for the month of March, as well as a list of the agreements and contracts is in your packets. Also on our April 10th through the 16th was National Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week. This week of appreciation is designed to give recognition to and to thank the dedicated and hardworking men and women of animal care and control. The Marshal's Office is responsible for answering and responding to animal control related issues, which equates to half of the complaints received annually. The Marshal's Office also works directly with the Dawson County Humane Society, which intakes and provides care for all animals impounded within the county. 474 animals in 2021. Therefore, in keeping with the National Animal Care and Control Week, the Marshal's Office would like to recognize Director Jason Hutcherson and the men and women of the Dawson County Humane Society for their devotion, hard work, and continued support of the Marshal's Office and the county. The Marshal's Office also would like to recognize Code Enforcement Officer Brendan Grindle, whose primary duties are responding to and answering animal control related complaints. Brandon has worked specifically in this capacity for the past 4 years and has obtained multiple certifications, including animal control officer, large animal rescue, and animal cruelty investigations. As a certified field training officer, Brandon currently is training new Marshal's Office personnel in proper animal handling methods and procedures. Brandon frequently answers calls and coordinates proper response to animal control complaints after hours and on weekends. One example of Brendan's dedication to his craft occurred last December when he responded to a call from the Dawson County Sheriff's Office for assistance with a case involving possible animal cruelty. Through Brendan's efforts and his coordinated response with Dawson County Humane Society, Director Jason Hutcherson and shelter personnel, more than 100 animals, to include dogs, fish, rabbits, and numerous different types of fowl, were seized, as well as criminal charges filed for animal cruelty. This was a massive undertaking and the largest animal seizure known to have occurred in Dawson County. Please join me in saying thank you, showing our appreciation to Brendan, Jason, and the rest of the Dawson County Humane Society staff and its volunteers for their tireless efforts in protecting and caring for our animals and keeping citizens safe. So thank you all very much.
Yes.
And then we have the North Georgia Conservation Coalition will host an Earth Day event from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, April the 23rd at the Bowen Center for the Arts. Planning Director Sharon Farrell will represent Dawson County at that event. And then we have a very important day coming up soon, one that only dignitaries get to enjoy the singing glory from the Board of Commissioners for birthday. So Miss Angie's birthday is coming up on May the 2nd.
Oh.
So we owe her a little
Sing it.
celebration. So
Okay, let's go. Are we ready?
Yep.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Angie. Happy birthday to you.
There you go.
Is that a surprise? I thought it was.
Yeah, I read an article the other day. It's funny that it's turning because this guy had a surprise birthday singing and he sued his company and won $450,000 because of anxiety. So we better not see a lawsuit come out of him.
Don't
I
give
read
her
that
any
article
ideas.
too. I read that same article. Yeah.
Did he win? Yes. Oh, my goodness. Oh, me too. I
I
got
can't wait till my
anxiety. Yeah, well, stop it.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
that concludes my report, Chairman.
Questions for the county manager? County attorney report, Ms. Davis. Okay. No need for any type of,
I don't have an
Okay.
executive session. I wish I did.
Oh, yeah, we don't. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, with that, that completes our work session. We'll take about a 10-minute break and we'll be back for the voting session. Thank you very much.